Yo, what's up, everybody, man? It's your boy, DJ L.O. Kari, a.k.a. Elgin Bokari. I am the co-creator of PocketCon, the free comic book convention that celebrates characters and creators of color. We're actually going to be having the comic book convention go down, which will be, by the time y'all see this, the comic book convention most likely would have already been taking place. It is tomorrow. We're going to be at the Chicago History Museum for the first time. Super excited about that. But as we're going into this conversation, I'm just so excited because, you know, we got a special guest in the house and we circles right now, man. So that means we coming full circle right now. So I want to invite my boy on the spot. Please make some noise for Mr. Anthony Piper in the spot.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Thank you.
What's going on?
Nothing much, brother. Nothing much, man. Just enjoying life. You know what I'm saying? Had a good turkey day, you know.
All right, man. You got some good food. What was on the menu, brother?
What we had: turkey, macaroni, dressing, cornbread, apple pie. It's a lot, man. A lot.
Had the greens, beans, potatoes.
Had greens.
Tomatoes.
Yep.
You man. No.
Yep.
Man, it's so dope to finally be here to have a conversation with you, bro. You know, you've been doing your thing for quite a long time. And I mean, just being like, you know, an artist working for like Marvel and all that kind of stuff to like, and for me, one of the first things that like really stood out to me was, you know, the Trill League comic and whatnot, man. So for those that don't know, give a small synopsis on like who Anthony Piper is, for those who may or may not know, just like a little bit of your background, who you are, and how long you've been into the game.
Okay. So my name's Anthony Piper. I'm a artist from Chicago, Illinois. I currently reside in Los Angeles. You know, I've been doing the art thing ever since I was born. I really kind of started taking this serious after I got kicked out of college.
Wait, you got kicked out of college, bro?
Yeah, man, I was going to NIU, right? And so I was going there initially so I wanted to get into video game design. That was my thing, right? And also at the same time too, I was a big fan of music, right? Like, and I wanted to do production, but I didn't know how to do production because, you know, my only like knowledge of, you know, doing any sort of music production was like, you got to have like, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment, right? But that also happened to be like the year, I think like my senior year of high school, like my homeboy put me onto Fruity Loops. So, you know, that kind of like changed.
The free program, though.
Yeah, man.
Mr. Popo, man.
Yeah, man. And it took my whole focus off of what it is I was supposed to be doing. So I was like making music, man. And, you know, that kind of took over my priorities. So I got all the way to like my junior year in college. And then I got kicked out because I was working with this management team and I was producing for their artists. So that's long story. I mean, so anyway, but ultimately what that led to was me having to like kind of pick something else to pivot. And so I started pivoting back into my illustration work. And then from there, I said, you know, I always wanted some sort of association with music. So I always kind of, you know, made sure that my art was kind of like, you know, music focused. So I was doing like a lot of album cover work or like, you know, a lot of illustrations of like artists and stuff like that, which kind of led to Trill League. And the story of Trill League, how that kind of started off was just me sort of like remixing the DC heroes and kind of sort of adding like a comedic element to them. It just kind of like took off on its own on social media and on Facebook at the time, back in 2014.
Shout out to my boy Clark Airlines. This is dope. I've seen some of your work being done through Clark as well.
Oh, you know Clark?
Yeah, man, I actually DJed for Clark for a little while.
Oh, word.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Like, I think as far as like clients, I've done the most covers for him. So
that makes a lot of sense, man. I'm almost positive when I saw, you know, some of your work, I was like, man, this artist look real familiar. And then I was like, oh, that's Anthony. Okay. And so that made a lot of sense. So you were going into Trill League, so remixing different you know, DC characters and whatnot, kind of putting your own spin to it. So tell us a little bit about how that kind of came about.
Man, so not to go too deep into life, but at the time I had moved to I was going through like a real dark period in my life, right? So as you know, to kind of like remedy that, I was watching a lot of stand-up comedy, you know, while I was doing a lot of work. So I was sort of learning kind of like, you know, punchlines and like how to like deliver a joke and stuff like that, just by watching like, you know, Earthquake, Cat Williams, George Carlin.
Earthquake is a fool, bro.
Oh yeah, man. Earthquake is so underrated, man.
You son of a bitch. Always sound like he gargling.
But yeah, I was just watching like a lot of comedians, man, and stand-up comedians, and kind of like, you know, learning like, you know, the art of comedy and how to deliver a joke, right? So, you know, I was kind of imbuing that into the Trill League characters, because at the time I was working on some commission work for a client, and they were a little bit late with the payment. So I was like, yo, I got some free time. And at the time I was remixing Marvel characters. I was kind of like giving Marvel characters like this hip hop flair, which is kind of, you know, that's been done, right? And so the thing about Marvel characters is I feel like they're primed for like remixing and kind of like, you know, turning into like anything, you know what I'm saying? Like you can kind of remix them just because of the characters are so contemporary. But DC characters are a little bit harder to like turn into, like, to give them like a hip hop flair. So instead of giving them a hip hop flair, you know what I'm saying, putting them in hip hop attire, instead I just turned them black.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
So, and then of course I started having them do like, you know, like dances and stuff like that. So it just kind of took off on its own, man. It wasn't something that I like planned out. It just like was this thing that people were enjoying. So I just started remixing and turning like, you know, these archetype characters into like, you know, certain black archetypes. And just combining, you know, the two, man, and people just loved it. So, you know, I just kept going with it, started coming up with comic strips and stuff like that, man.
You know, it's interesting too, just with your style, because it's like, I think of like folks like Ace Vane, or, you know what I'm saying, when you think about like folks like even with Aaron Magruder, you know what I'm saying, like it's like a kind of a combination of how do you, it's like, people can do their own spin to it, but it doesn't really translate to black characters enough. And then, which is interesting when we talk about, especially like an event like PocketCon, when it comes to like creating a space for representation. You know what I mean? Rest in peace. We just lost a cosplayer, like I think a day and a half ago. For, you know, trying to just being harassed online for dressing up as one of her favorite characters and whatnot. You know, and so to see a character like, I think like Trill Robin, you know what I mean? It's such a big deal, because now it's like, oh, I kind of could see myself in this character. You know what I'm saying? Like how much was that that thought process involved when you were creating and coming up with the concept for this book?
I mean, you know what? To be honest with you, man, and I was reading about that young girl who she took her life, man, because of that, and that's really sad. You know, when I came up with Trill League, you know, this was early in the days of social media. And so much has changed from when I first created Trill League and the conversations that are taking place to what's taking place now. Because, you know, at that time, I mean, the black geek community was kind of like, you know, its own little corner, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and we didn't really necessarily, it wasn't necessarily as on big of a stage as it was. I mean, it was always this thing that was percolating, but, you know, it wasn't as on big of a stage as it is now, where it's so much sort of like animosity, you know, and a magnifying glass on it, right? So, you know, when I came up with Trill League, man, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think of anything as far as like, you know, us having representation. I mean, I knew that we didn't have representation at that time, but, you know, that wasn't necessarily, you know, the purpose of me creating it. It was just something that, you know, I mean, as a black kid from the south side of Chicago, man, you know, I tell people from a lot of major cities like New York and LA that, you know, Chicago is one of the most segregated cities out there. So, you know,
we love our diversity, but it's kind of forced diversity if you think.
Well, I mean, you know what? I mean, look, I haven't been out in Chicago in a while, so I don't necessarily know if it's changed too much. But I tell people, like, you know, like, I didn't see that many white people. The only white people that I interacted with growing up were my teacher and my mother's coworkers. Like, those are the only white people that I saw, you know, growing up. Versus, like, you know, LA and New York, like, you just surrounded by everybody. You have no choice but to interact with people that are different than you. So, you know, as a result of that, what I'm saying, the only thing it is I saw as a kid growing up, in my imagination, what were worlds occupied by people that look like us, So, when I wanted to go out and create anytime, anything it is that came up in my head that I wanted to create, it was always this world populated by Black characters. So when I created Trill League, it wasn't anything to me that was kind of like, oh, this like crazy, like, oh, I'm trying to defy the odds type of creation. It was just more so like, yo, this is what I see on a day-to-day basis,
Right. And I mean, that's really kind of the gist of it, man. We are trying to, especially with PocketCon, it's like we are trying to create a world that we actually live in. You know what I'm saying? Like when you go to comic book conventions, stuff like that, most of the time it's mad white. And it's like, I'm trying to find characters that look like folks from my block. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm from St. Louis, you know what I mean, as well too. So it's like, it's very black and white as well too. And so for me, it's like, when I see this, it reminds me of when, like how I got the idea of why PocketCon became a thing. And I don't know if I ever like officially told you this story, but I was teaching a class to shorties, and we were doing like, okay, draw yourself as a character, or draw, like let's see you represented as yourself. And they all drew like anime characters and blonde hair and blue eyed. I'm like, yo, they don't look like you. You know what I'm saying? So like the whole thing that we ended up doing was taking their characters and like, let's show you how to make these people look black, right? Let's give them lips. Let's use browns, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you don't create that representation, then they won't do it. Because also, when they're looking at anime, they don't have a lot of representations on anime of characters that look like them either. You know what I'm saying? Or if they don't see a black, comic book illustrator doing the work, then we see plenty of rappers, we see plenty of baseball players, basketball players, you know what I'm saying, all that kind of stuff. So it's like we got to see the other side, and I feel like especially with what you're doing, like what would Robin look like with a high top fade, you know what I'm saying, like, and there you go, that's where we are, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, man, I think what you're doing is dope, and it really does remind me of like why we created this comic book convention in the first place. So, yeah, man, you're very much appreciated, and I think your work is phenomenal, bro. Do you have a favorite character in the Trill League series?
Man, I mean, all my characters are my favorite, bro, to be honest with you. I mean, if you talk about in terms of writing, definitely Wandisha, Sparrow, Black Man. I would say those are my top three, of course. But yeah, I mean, I love all my characters, man. I mean, I love Big Banks too, just because I like writing villains. He's somebody that I've been trying to explore in the comic and the graphic novel. So yeah.
See, when we talk about representation, you know what I'm saying, and you know what I mean, like kids, they gotta see it. You know what I'm saying? People gotta see it. Hell yeah. So what's just really quick, when it comes to the industry, was it Trill League that caught the attention of like the other side, you know what I'm saying, or was it before?
Oh, the professional side, yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, I was mostly doing independent work, doing like a lot of like comic covers, album cover work, graphic design, logo design, and stuff like that. And like once I came up with Trill League, yeah, that really is what got me into the professional world as far as working for comic companies and animation studios. So
yeah, man. And how has that been to navigate? Because it's like you took a chance on something that just made you feel good, you know what I'm saying, like let's just have some fun with this. And now it's like bringing in you to like in the room, you know what I'm saying. And how's that been for you? How's the navigation of that process for you?
Oh man, that's a long story, man. I mean, it's been a lot of ups and downs with it. I mean, Hollywood is a very brutal industry. The professional creative industry is just brutal. I mean, it's a lot of hard work too. Just because you're competing against some of the top artists, not just in this country, across the world, right? So you always got to be on top of your game. But it's brought me a lot of great opportunities, man. As far as being able to like illustrate for some of the most popular characters, learning the animation production process, you know, working with producers and the studio executives, just being, kind of sought out, as far as like for my creativity and, my imagination and, learning the business, man. I mean, I think that's the most crucial element that I was able to kind of gain from doing this for 10 years is just, learning the industry, man, and learning how the game works, because it's not as cut and dry as when I first I thought it was just like, oh, you got a good idea, right? You bring it to Hollywood and, you get it off the ground, and the quality of that concept is what is going to, get you to rise to the top. And in some ways it is, but it's also, it's a business too. And you got to understand those aspects of it, and understand how to navigate that part of it and being prepared for it, so yeah, it's a lot, man, that came with it, but I'm grateful for it, just because, I was able to get in from something that I wasn't even trying to like, purposely conceive, right? It was just me kind of just doing what it is that I do as, being this a goofy black dude who just like, makes a lot of jokes and, is into hip hop and anime and video games and stuff like that. So
for sure, man. Thank you so much for the answer, bro, because I think, right off the bat, people think that it's like, I think too many youth, especially coming up, just see the finished product. You know what I'm saying? And they don't know that it takes a process. It also takes like, legacy as well too. Before we talk about a little bit of that legacy, you had a Kickstarter not too long ago, and I think some artists become a little, they feel kind of intimidated by asking for money or anything like that. Can you tell us a little bit about your process and like how that Kickstarter went for you?
So I mean, I've done 2 Kickstarters for my books. The first one was able to raise $21,000.
Come on now.
And then off the backer kit, I think I was able to raise another $20,000 off of that. And then the second Kickstarter for the second book, I was able to raise 43, and then I think the backer kit raised like 12 or 13.
Come on now.
Yeah, so like 40 to 50 for most of the books. I've done over 100K in sales.
When it's good, it's good.
Yeah, man, it's good. It's good. I mean, look, and a lot of people come to me for advice about Kickstarters and putting something out there, you know what I'm saying, to be able to raise funds for their ideas. The thing that I say to people is that, the field is very crowded, just because at the time when I did Kickstarter, it was it wasn't in its inception. It was kind of like a little bit past that, where a lot of artists were starting to rely on it more. They were understanding that, you can crowdfund these projects.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel that, the game is really crowded now. But I mean, even then, a lot of artists are still able to amass a lot of funds.
Yeah.
And the thing that I tell a lot of people starting off is you need a product and you need an audience, depending on how much it is you're trying to raise, you need to have something that you have to understand. It's not just you're raising money for your idea, you want people to shower you with hundreds and thousands of dollars. You have to genuinely put out like a great product that, something that you would want to spend your money on, right?
Facts.
Facts. So, there's a certain professionalism that you need to have with your product and how you present it, and how you go about it, right? Especially if you're trying to amass, in the thousands, in the tens of thousands of dollars, you have to make sure that you're presenting that product well. And you also need to have, some sort of, consistency with, your work. You can't just like, oh, I'm just coming out the gate, I want to produce a comic, right? This is your first time producing a comic and you think you're going to raise $10,000. No, you got to have, you got to show that this is something that you've done before, that, you know, you're going to put the work into it, and people will reward that consistency. Because I've seen a lot of creators, you know, go on to like fund, you know, a lot of different projects, you know, just because they put out that first one, and, you know, people are like, oh, you know, I'm going to continue supporting them, you know, because this is clearly what their passion is. So, you know, I would say, you know, you're going to have to put out something for free. You know, and that's the best thing I could tell you to do is, like, you know, give the people something for free first, and then, you know, let them determine that, oh yeah, I want to see more of this, and then, you know, you can start to look into crowdfunding.
And I think it's really dope too, the way that you organically build your audience, because I think sometimes some artists feel that, oh man, I gotta jump on live and I gotta, you know, do all this other kind of stuff. It's like, no, if you just, there's ways to do it with just building consistency, having really great work that people want to invest their time in, and once people like it, do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then the rest will follow. I think you are a perfect example of figuring out, like, one, the thing that you put out for free was the thing you actually enjoyed doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't weird, this ain't hard for me to do because I actually like doing this, right? And then from there, people start to invest. Now it's like it's built up the audience organically. So now, you know, when it comes to asking for some money, well, you like that thing? Now go ahead and pay for that thing. And yes, continue to support artists that are actually doing the work, y'all. Like, for real, support artists that are doing the work. And with that being said, this year, unfortunately we lost a great, amazing mentor to a lot of us, amazing man that goes by the name of Turtel Onli. He's known as the father of the Black Age of comics, and unfortunately he's no longer with us. And one of the things that he talked about in his last few months was about how does he continue on his legacy, you know, wanting to see more artists, you know, use his work. And I was like, man, what a great person to start this off with than Anthony Piper, as a person who's gone the independent route, has made a name for himself on the independent route, and then also now in the mainstream, you know what I mean? Found a good in-between spot for the mainstream. Can you tell us a little bit about your, you know, history with Dr. Onli, and what it meant to, you know, be the illustrator this year for his work?
Oh man, I mean, it was a great honor. As far as my interaction with Turtel, I only met him once. I believe we interacted a few times online, but there was an event that I went to, man, and I was able to, you know, have a conversation with him, and we spoke. It was a very casual conversation though. But you know, as far as just understanding his legacy and what it is that he meant to, you know, the Black comic community, especially in Chicago, man, it was something that it was a high honor to me to be considered, you know what I'm saying, to produce one of his characters for the convention, just because, you know, what my story, you know, how that played out for me and being embraced by the Black comic community, it just meant a lot to me, man, you know. So just to be able to, you know, take his characters and take his style and be able to sort of modernize it, you know what I'm saying, to something a little bit more contemporary, man, was just like, you know, I was like, oh man, this is really a dope challenge. Man,
and I think you did a amazing job. I can honestly tell you that the family, you know, who've seen the work has really given it a lot of praise. You know what I mean? Like, I've already heard someone who's one of my buddies who's in New York was like, bro, this is by far my favorite bash that I've seen in Pocket Con. And we had some heavy hitters, man. Like, shout outs to Machindo, shout outs to Ashley Woods, shout outs to Afua Richardson, John Jennings, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, some heavy hitters.
Yeah, we've had some heavy hitters in the past, man. So it's you know, for him to go like, yo, man, this has been my favorite one. And I think it really is though, because it embraces all the different aspects of, you know what I'm saying, like representation. You know what I'm saying? We got him with and like, you know, I wanted to ask, like, what was the thought process with adding like the two youth along with them? And for those that don't know, the character is actually Malcolm 10, which is a character that was created by Turtel. Malcolm 10, as like Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? So it was like his version of that character. Kind of looked, and it was really interesting because I always thought Malcolm 10 kind of looked like Turtel a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But like,
yeah, you know what? The funny thing about it, as I was drawing it, I was like, yo, it kind of like, I didn't think about that because I've seen the character before, of course.
Yeah.
And I was drawing it, I was kind of like, yo, he kind of does look like him. But you know what? To be honest with you, a lot of artists tend to look like their characters.
Yeah, man, we put ourselves in it, man. You can't help it, you know.
Yeah,
so it just gotta be in there.
Me like, oh man, you like your characters, and I was like, do I? And then I was like, oh yes, I could see that. I was like, yo, because I'm constantly putting my face, you know, for reference.
Right.
And then I started to see other people's work, and I was like, okay, I could see that. I was like, yo, you know, artists tend to use themselves for reference. So yeah, as I was drawing them, I was like, yo, he does look like Turtel a little bit. But as far as me adding the kids to it, man, man, you know, I just care a lot about Black representation for the Black kids that's growing up, man, and you know, knowing my journey and like, you know, seeing like superheroes and seeing, you know, characters that didn't look like me, right? You know what I'm saying? I grew up with characters. I didn't see any real characters that grew up like me, you know, until like, you know, the Boondocks kind of really in that. By that time I was in college, right? You know, so just, you know, making sure that, you know, these kids that come to these conventions and making sure that we continue that cycle of, you know, getting these kids interested in this medium, you know, was super important for me, man. So I was like, yo, let me go ahead and add this little Black boy and little Black girl to this too, you know?
Yeah, man, it was, dude, it's so fresh. And it's like, I think you did a great job. You know what I'm saying? I was like, dang, man, that looked like a little me in the corner right there. You know what I'm saying? But nah, man, I think it was really, really great, man. And, you know, for those who never, is there anything that you wanted to, you know, let the audience know about T or anything like that? Or, you know what I'm saying? Or what it mean, or what you feel like, what do you hear, or what is like the Black age, and being an independent creator, doing it on your own? What does that mean to you?
Man, I mean, I think it's just about the grit and the grind of, you know, of wanting to produce these ideas that are in your head, man. I mean, I think, you know, for a lot of comic creators, especially the independent ones, man, especially the Black ones, because we don't get that funding, we don't get these opportunities, you know, like our counterparts, right? So just understanding, you know what I'm saying, what it takes to sit there and illustrate a story, you know, and put it out, man. It's just, it takes so much, you know, and so I have respect for anybody who did it before me. And, you know, and he was doing it before social media, you know, before, you know, the digital tools. So, you know, that takes a lot, man, you know.
Yep.
You know, and, you know, the one thing it is that I just didn't have a chance to, when you know, my journey started a lot on Facebook, right? And so a lot of those artists who were a part of that movement, or, you know, a lot of the speculators who were part of that movement, I didn't really get a chance to interact with a lot of them through social media. But I do know my work, you know, sort of like circulated through a lot of those channels. So, you know, it's nothing but respect, you know, for what came before me, right? You know, and just to be kind of considered, you know, to kind of carry on that legacy, man, meant a lot to me. So
I appreciate you, man, and I appreciate your work. So excited and honored to have you be a part of the PocketCon legacy. You know, I guess in this little bit of time that we got left, is there anything that you want to plug? You know what I'm saying? Any projects that we should know about?
Oh man, so yeah, I do have a comic project that's coming out. I don't have it on me right now. Don't I have it? No, I don't have a book. But it's called, what is it called? Super Predators. So it took me a minute to but yeah, man, it's being written by Rodney Barnes Jr., who is Rodney Barnes' son, man. And I think it's a really dope concept, man. It's like Boondocks meets like fucking New Jack City meets Samurai Champloo. It's some of my best. Yeah, man. It's some of my best work, man. He pulled something out of me, man. That you haven't seen. Yeah.
Sorry.
He drew something out of me.
Drew something out. Yeah.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Is that more? Is that more fishy? Is that a little?
Hey, man. It's all good.
But yeah, man, it's some of my best work, man, and we're getting ready to debut that, so that should be dropping pretty soon, man. I'm excited about that project, but that's pretty much it, man. You know, gonna start working on Trill League 3 probably next year. But yeah, everything else that I got working on is kind of like, you know, studio stuff, man, which is like moving slow motion. So
man, well, we'll be looking out for Trill League 3 as well as Super Predators. You know what I'm saying? You know you're gonna like it. You know you're gonna want it, and go get that book. Yeah. Much love, man. Thank y'all so much for listening in and tuning into this talk. One more time, man, if you're wherever you are right now, make some noise for Mr. Anthony Piper, y'all.
Appreciate you, man.
We appreciate you. PocketCon is going down on November 29th at the Chicago History Museum. Please come and check it out. It's going to be a fun time from 12 to 6 p.m. The artwork that is featured this year is of Anthony Piper. We thank you so much for everybody that tuned in. Much love, peace, hair grease, and we'll see you all again very soon. Much love.